Rita Bennett, VP of Corporate Communications for Great Bear Resources. I'm here with our President and CEO, Chris Taylor, and today we released news about our first detailed high-grade long section at the Dixie project, our flagship project, as part of our very active drill program, where we've now reached 300 released drill holes. So before we get started with Chris, I just want to remind everyone, if you haven't already registered for our webinar, which is slated for June 7th, please do so. All you have to do is reach out to us for the link, and we'd be happy to send that to you. And without much further ado, here's Chris Taylor.
Thanks, Rita. Thanks for the introduction. I'm going to do what I usually do, which is get my face off the screen, and then we'll look at some slides that I put together. So I'm just going to open that up.
Perfect.
All right. Can you see this okay in front of you?
I can.
Okay, so this is a map of the LP fault that our shareholders are used to seeing at this point, and it shows the Dixie Limb and the hinge zone beside that. And we like this image because it shows the grade distribution of the different hits, the different intersections in the drill holes. But what we're doing now is providing more detailed information, and there's a few things that I want to explain to our shareholders in this process. So I'm just going to go to the next slide here. So this is an image that we put out in the most recent news release. And what you can see here is that we're beginning to illustrate where we have these high-grade domains. And right now there are 17 of these that we're defining along the more than 4 kilometers of the LP fault. But that's within this broader area of low-grade mineralization. As you can see that there, this is scale bar on the bottom here is 500 meters long. So you can see there's hundreds of meters of width of that low grade, maybe 100 meters width in some places, and it's got the high grade material in the middle. So I think probably the best way to understand what we're doing as a company right now is to say that we're simultaneously drilling off 17 separate high grade gold zones, future deposits once it goes through resource, that are inside of a broader, larger low grade or bulk tonnage type system. So it's effectively doing 17, or if you look at the bulk tonnage system as another one, 18 all at once. And the distribution that I'm going to show you now in the coming figures relate to BR7. So this is one of the high grade domains. It's not the best one. It's not the worst one that we have and that we're drilling off now along the LP fault. So this is the map of all 17. As you can see here, they have different names. It's always a work in progress because ultimately as we drill more, sometimes the domains end up splitting into separate domains, and sometimes as we drill, they actually come together. But right now, these are the 17 named domains that we have. And again, the information that we're putting out or that we just put out is this one here, BR7. Interestingly, if you look at the map, you'll note BR4, and Oro 20 are the other ones that are right beside it. And here's Oro 20. So you can see that those are parallel domains. There's additional domains that are parallel to those. So it's a number of parallel high-grade domains that are within the big LP fault system. So this is the long section that you're used to seeing. And what I find when we talk about this with people is that getting the scale of these sort of 1 kilometer, that's a kilometer, and that's 500 meters, each one of these rectangles, getting the scale of this across is often difficult. So what we've done is we've taken a small portion of it, and we're zooming in on 500 meters of it, which is, I don't know exactly where that would sit on this section, but it's around that area. And what I'm going to do is show you the detailed long section of that in a moment. But when you're looking at this image, what it's doing, I'm just going to get rid of that, is it's compressing all the information that we have, all the drilling that we've done, and it's putting it on one plane, one long section plane. It's a common practice in our industry. It's the only way we can really show these things in long section, but it's a little bit misleading in the sense that, as you can see in the image above you, there are a number of different parallel high-grade panels within them. And when you look at that image on the long section here, they're all compressed into one panel. The reality, though, and this is in the area of the section that we put out today, is that there are multiple parallel zones. So I color coded these and we're going to look at some of them. So if you look at the cross section in front of you, now we're cut at 90 degrees. So we've cut a slice through the deposit, say there, and we're looking at it here. And what you can see is there's 3 separate main parallel high-grade domains. One of them in the middle, that's BR7. You can see I'm doodling on it there. And then we have the other ones beside it, BR4 and ORO20. And you're looking at really a layer cake structure. Now, if you've been close to the company and you've been following the news release for some time, you'll see that the drill holes, as they go down across the zone, often have multiple gold zones in them. And we can see that looking over here, there's hole 140. So that's this drill hole here cutting across the system. So you can see hole 140 had all these different zones of gold within it, like 151 meters to 187 meters, 36 meters of, that's about 1.6 grams. You could see within that, it had 4.5 meters of 6 grams. Further down, 219 to 257, 38 meters of 3 grams, including 3.5 meters of 15 grams, some real high grade in here. And then again, going down, it had more gold even further in, So what you're looking at is, if I get rid of the doodles, is gold mineralization through the first one, through the second one, and then through the third one, going through these holes. And you can see that process is repeating hole after hole as we go across the system. So now what we're going to do is look exclusively at the long section, and we're pretending that none of this material is here, and we're pretending that none of this material is here. So when we look at the detailed long section that we put out in the most recent news, you can see that the high grade gold is present throughout this long section. And it also gives everybody a chance to see that all the drill holes that we've put into this area have all hit gold mineralization, all going right to surface over approximately a 500 meter by 250 meter area. So when you think about this, one of the ironies of this drilling is that the BR7 section does not actually have the most amount of gold in it. I would look at that compared to some of the adjacent zones in terms of the intercepts that have been generated. So keep in mind that we're looking exclusively at the red one in the middle, BR7. Now let's look at ORO20 and let's look at BR4 as adjacent zones beside that. Those will be published in upcoming news releases as well. So here we are looking at one of the drill holes, BR037. So it's a drill hole from probably 2019, I believe, when this went in. And as it was going across, it hit all these different zones. So if you look at the grade and the widths of the different zones, you could see that when it was going through, I believe this is ORO20, the domain, it hit 6 meters of 16 grams, which included a couple meters of 28 grams. Then it went down and it crossed over BR7, which included, it was in here. So you could see BR7, it's 2.3 grams over 15 meters. That's what we disclosed here. You can see that's within a wider envelope. So what we did when we displayed the gold in this long section is we clipped it. We cut out the gold from the surrounding areas and even some within that middle zone. And you can see that as you go down this drill hole, that there's actually more gold in some of the other sections than there is on the BR7 domain. So there's more in, for instance, this would be the BR4 domain, and this would be the ORO20 domain. So you can see that there is actually in this drill hole more gold in the adjacent domains than there is within the domain that we took and we provided as the first image in terms of detailed information. So this describes that yet again. Multiple parallel domains color coded. So you could see the black would be ORO20, the red would be BR7, and the blue would be BR4. And you can see again, parallel zones running down the middle. And once again, where would be the best results? Well, they're probably down in this zone, actually. It's probably better grade mineralization in the BR4 domain than it is in the BR7 domain. And it's actually arguably better in the ORO20 domain as well. So it just gives you an idea when we're parsing down the data from some of the previous slides and we're showing you on these sections on a section by section basis that, just because we showed you BR4 first doesn't mean that there isn't gold in the adjacent zones. In fact, I would expect based on BR37 that there is better gold in those adjacent zones, certainly in this drill hole. And that's the kind of information that we would be providing regularly on a go-forward basis so that shareholders can follow along and watch the progress of the company. The other thing that we're going to be doing over time is, as you can see, this image shows what the lower grade or bulk tonnage domains that surround the high grade look like. And this is the zoomed in view looking at the same thing. You can see there's BR7 as the black rectangle is outlined there on the screen. You can see the other high grade domains, but we're doing similar work on the modeling side with the lower grade domains that surround all that high grade mineralization. So if you're figuring out, and we're working on this all the time with our engineering groups and resource modelers, you have to figure out what the grade endowment and ounce of gold endowment is for the high grade domains separate from the low grade domains. So we'll be providing this information on a regular basis going forward. And I think it'll be very informative for investors so that they can get a very good feel for what ultimately will be available once the company has finished this shallow 0 to 400 meter depth initial maiden resource estimation drilling program. And I would expect early in 2022 that we'll probably be ready to disclose that resource information. And in the meantime, we'll be providing this detailed information on a go-forward basis.
Wonderful. So what we can look forward to with the webinars is a little bit more of these type of explanations, addressing any questions that investors have. But as usual, if you have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out to us by telephone 604-646-8354 or at info@greatbearresources.ca. Chris, do we want to leave anybody with anything else, any of the investors with any other information, or?
Once again, Rita, anybody that has questions, please feel free to contact the company. We are providing this detailed information on a go-forward basis. So if you have any questions, want to know the implications of the work, just give us a shout. We're happy to chat about it. And of course, the drilling continues to go well. The project, it continues to surprise us, always in a positive way. And we look forward to sharing that with our investors too.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Thanks, Rita.